You accuse others of getting personal when clearly you got personal first when you started the accusatory post, asking him why he should play that way and then telling him why he should not play that way. Reflect, mate. When your entire post becomes a critical look at how another is playing the game, rather than a focus on the problem described, you have lost that focus. Everyone on our forum is an Imperialite. We all have that in common. Let's keep it friendly. Let's leave it at that. And leave deleted posts deleted, please. Now, I have disagreements. I believe that there is a misunderstanding. But at the end of it all, this is meeting me in the middle. This is two people that clearly disagree and dislike each other that are willing to hey, can we discuss? Can we talk rather than just raising arms and battle and fighting? Alrighty, now I'm going to go to the comment because I want to give context. And when I'm done reading that topic off, I'm going to skip other people's comments that aren't pertaining to the conversation between me, Rainix, and Piddlefoot. So I'll be cutting back on my record time. But I will be coming back because I want to highlight some of the things that Piddlefoot said in my response, which is down below. Okay? And here we are at the general discussions and Rainix's post. Set structure to public. Hey, I'm in a faction with my buddy, and some new guys who joined the server want to form an alliance with us. How do I set my orbital factory in the carrier so that people from both factions, or anyone at all, it's okay if non-members can use it, can use all the boxes, use all the constructors, pick the plants, dock their ships on the carrier, and pilot the carrier? Can anyone give me a hand? I really like coffee. Now, at face value, I understand what this guy's going for. He's got him a faction where him and his people want to, they're together. They're in a personal faction. They're having fun, and they've befriended another group of people that are new to the game, and they want to cooperate and work together. That's cool. I'm all for that. Now, I don't play on a multiplayer server. I play on a single-player server, and I run local co-op with one of my buddies. So I can absolutely understand this guy's perspective. He'd like to be allied with another group without necessarily inviting them into the faction. Okay. It's fine if the carrier ship is public, too. We can just put a secret lock code on the pilot seat. And me and Roy respond, if you don't want the new guys to join your faction, I believe setting utilities to lock code 0000 is technically public. And Roy pretty much confirms that. Ranix asks, can they dock on the CV? Piddlefoot responds, in response to my advice, that is the smarter way to go. You can lock them out of vital rooms and you never lose control of the base. If it's set to public, others can steal the base. That's an anti-grief measure. Because if you do have it set to public and you're friends with someone that's not in your faction, if they suddenly disagree with you or they just don't like you, they can go to your base control menu and switch it to private and they stole your base. Not saying that that's what's going to happen, but that's an anti-grief measure. So you just set all the doors on the base you want to share to 40, so the door itself is public, allowing access. You can also set your devices to 0000 so they can be used by the public also. Each device you want others to be capable of using must have the 40 setting. So that can take some time to set up. I usually do that stuff when building the facility, doing it as I go, and save the blueprint so you never need to do it again. Then when you spawn that blueprint, it's all ready to go, set up. Allowing random public unknowns into your faction is risky, mate. But I guess that's like real world espionage. Like a box of chocolates, you just never know what you're going to get, do you, Forrest? uh, I like that movie, Forrest Gump. Anyway, Ranix, my friends can't dock on my CV, but I can make the docking bay door public to let them inside. They can pilot the ship, but they can't move it because it's colliding with undocked small vessels. Is there any way to let them dock? No, there's not. What about guys in the Alliance? Only faction can dock. And this is where I guess my post began to be misconstrued, taken out of context, and I guess seen as being insulting. And I'll explain, when I go back to that private message, I'll explain why I speak in the manner that I do. But this is me trying to address the issue, get to the root of the problem, so that I can better offer a solution. Why is it so important that your new Alliance members dock to one of your faction CVs? If this is a new group, if this new group doesn't have a CV of their own, you're babysitting them, and they're not much use to your group. All right, now remember that, because that's seen as one of my insults. But does this come across to you as me using that term in an insulting tone? Like it's one thing if I'm like, oh, you're babysitting them, fuck them, without adding the fucking part. But the tone of my voice made that belittling. Oh, they gotta babysit you. But you can also use a different tone. You're babysitting that group. You're babysitting them. The word babysitting is a verb. Let's look it up. Babysitting. Well, I guess it can be a noun too. But it's the care of a child or children while the parents are out. And that term can also mean other things like, say, you're babysitting a boiling pot of water. To babysit is to look out for and to care for. And it can be taken different ways, I suppose. But continuing, donate the materials to them so they can make their own CV, or donate one of your faction CVs to the Alliance members to use. Or better yet, accompany them to the location of POIs and watch their back and let them raid the POIs to gain the mats to make or bring in a CV themselves. That way, they get the experience of doing it themselves with the benefit of the Alliance with your faction backing them up. And CV stands for capital vessel. Have the Alliance members sit in your faction CV, warp to a location, and drop ship deploy your Alliance guys to a planetary or moon orbital POI and set them straight. When they get up and running in their own CVs, then your group and their group can run wild. Light up a cigarette. And Ranix replies, they have their own CVs, but we don't want to land a bunch of CVs every time we roll out for a mission. That's stupid. We take out POIs on foot and in HVs and SVs. Why wouldn't they be able to load their HV on my carrier? Like, I don't mean to be too down on it. We can do everything else we have to do with the lock codes. It's just not being able to dock is a pretty big downer. Also, I tried to make a building public so anyone could take it over by destroying its core and leaving it, but it seems to have despawned and left a hole in the ground, and that's terrible. Oh man, can you imagine signing onto your game and then just one of your bases is gone with a crater in the ground? That would be especially troubling for somebody like me, because I play in single player. In multiplayer, it's like, hey, maybe somebody came by where you were offline and flattened your base. That sucks. But in single player, to have that happen, it doesn't just suck. It's confusing. Like, I'm in single player, who destroyed my base? But my response, I'm not sure why you think two different factions landing two CVs on a planet to deploy forces is stupid. But I understand more now the reason you want cross-faction docking. Perhaps someone else can provide you with a workaround. We're going to go to the next page, and there were some other comments in this thread that were deleted. My comments were not the only ones deleted. I am just now noticing that. Next video.